hello, and thank you so much for coming today. We really love seeing your faces, and we're glad that so many of you have turned your cameras on. And if you haven't and you're willing to, please do. Also, if you're on your computer, the phones are a little funny with this, but if you're on your computer, there's a chat feature, and we would love for you to turn it on. And then on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the artist websites that are being posted. You could chat together. You can ask questions that we'll do our best to answer. And it adds to the festive environment. So if you could turn that on, that would be great. And if there are pieces that you're loving that people are putting up, let them know. It's part of the joy. And I see we have somebody all the way from California, which is like, that's part of why this is so much fun, because time zones don't really matter. Everybody's here. You don't have to be within an hour range to drive. So it's really fun. So now that we can see each other, we like to start off our events with a quick cheers. So if everybody could raise their glass, and let's have a cheers to all being together. Woohoo! Cheers, everybody.
Woo! Cheers.
And I don't know very many faces on here, and I'm sure you're thinking, who is this chick? So I'm Laura Candell, and I'm excited to be your host today. I've come to Art Party Central from the contemporary craft show world, where I produced shows for over 16 years. I also have a craft and design blog on Instagram. Check it out, Modern Handmade Design. And even for me, being at these parties is a chance to meet new makers. 3 of the artists that are on today, I have never met before. I haven't seen their work in person. I'm really excited to see their presentations. And the 3 that I do know, every time I come to one of these events, I find out something new about them. So I'm really excited to see what else I find out today. Enough about me, though. Today, we have 6 super talented artists with us. We have Karla Gudeon from Karla Gudeon Art and Design, who is one of the co-creators of Art Party Central. We have Erin Draper from Erin Draper Clothing, Karen Coston from Karen Coston Jewelry, Michael Mitchell from Iona Handcrafted Books, Noelle Van Hendrick from Z-Pots, and Nora Swan from Swan&Stone Millinery, who is also one of the co-creators of Art Party Central. So let me tell you how this is all going to work today. Each of the 6 artists will give a presentation about their work, their inspirations, their process, whatever else pops into their heads. I'll then ask them each 2 questions that were previously submitted by their followers. And at the end of the party, we'll raffle off one $50 gift certificate from each of the artist websites. So that's 6 chances to win just for coming and hanging out with us today. You do have to be present to win, so stick around to the end. At that point, we'll also give you a discount code, which will be good for 10% off at all 6 of the artist websites. So the same coupon, good for all of the websites, which is great. It'll be good until October 15th, so make sure to get there between now and then. With whatever time we have left, we'll open up the party for chatting, and we'll invite you guys to unmute yourselves and mingle and ask questions, and we'll hang out for a bit. So let's get to the fun stuff, because I'm done talking. Our first artist today is Karla Gudeon, and I'm going to pass it over to her. On to you, Karla.
Hi. So I'm Karla of Karla Gudeon Art and Design, and I am incredibly happy to be here. And I'm just going to remind everybody that you can open up the chat at the bottom of your screen. You can ask questions, you can comment. I can't multitask. I will knock over my lighting and everything else if I try, so I'll try and get back to you after it's my turn to speak. I create a line of beautiful artwork and goods and gifts for the home. And I've been doing this full time for about 20 years. A little bit of background is I took the long way around. I always wanted to be an artist. I went to Parsons School of Design, completely chickened out after art school, didn't know what the hell to do with myself, and answered an ad in the New York Times to be a school teacher. So I was an elementary school teacher, not of art, mostly inner city, for about a dozen years until I had my own kids. And the line I always say is there is such a thing as way too many children in your life. So my children and teaching wasn't happening. Plus, I really wanted to tell my boys to grow up to pursue their passions. And I hadn't set an example by doing that. So it was time to make a living as an artist. And the trick was that I knew I would never get there if I just used the watercolor work I had honed at Parsons and had to come up with a new design for every single piece. I knew I wanted multiples, but that wasn't showing enough love to my customers. I wanted everybody to have something that my brush was on the paper and hand painted. So I realized the best thing to do was to go back about 200 years to old school printmaking, engraving, and combine it with watercolor. I didn't know how to do that, but I did teach myself printmaking, and that's how I came to do these hand-colored engravings. And a little bit about what that is to gain an understanding is every piece starts off with a metal plate, and the metal plate is carved backwards with my design. And unlike relief painting, where you printing, where you roll ink on, the ink has to go inside the lines and rise up. So I pull this through my printing press onto the paper, and when it comes out, I have the outline for my piece. And that's where the fun begins, and every single one becomes an original watercolor. So this is one of the prints before I've painted it, and this is one of the prints after I've painted it, and this is yet another one of the prints after it's been painted and framed. So that's a little about how I make my pieces. And what I've come to do over the years since I've done a holiday show is also try and make things more and more accessible by expanding with goods and gifts to the home. And a lot of that, what I do is I'll come up with a theme that I love to paint that I think resonates with people, and then I'll explore it in many different ways. So for example, one of my favorite themes is a hamsa. And that's the protective hand, and it's in many cultures, in many religions. So I particularly love that it has diversity and features itself everywhere. And more to me than the meaning of the protection, to me is this unifying force that it's in so many different cultures, meaning something so lovely. So what I do with that theme is I'll do a hand-colored engraving, and this is in my Little Ones collection, and this is a super accessible collection with over 100 different designs and pieces in it. So that's what the RBG was, that's what this is. Then we move up, and I have larger pieces. Backwards right here is one of my larger hand-painted hamsas, and I do have another large hamsa that's about the size of the big tree. But adding to that now, I have marble coaster sets. So each one comes with 4 tiles, cork on the back, don't scratch your surface, practical and cool. And then I've also added to that collection things like notebooks and card sets. So again, I take something I've done and I bring it to different formats so that you can have your choice of a gifty item or to make a major statement in your home. And I do that with things like trees of life, as you can see behind me. Lately, I've been on a run, I can't imagine why, about strong women. So I've got strong women coasters, I've got strong women notebooks, and strong women original art. And I think, Laura, you have some questions for me.
I do have a couple of questions. Let me just grab them. So your art is framed with lots of different types of frames. Are you able to customize them?
Absolutely. I love customizing. One of the things I miss about the shows is this direct connection with my customers. I often find myself friends with my customers. Like, we could go out for drinks. It's a bond we share over the joy that my art brings me and them. So I love doing something special. So anything you see on the wall behind me can come in any of the frames you see on the wall. And there's more where that comes from, as well as different color mats, different color mounts. I like doing one-on-one consults. I do by appointment. We can do FaceTime tours of your home and we can pick the framing together. We can do it by sending swatches. And I love customizing. But another thing is, because every single one of my pieces is hand painted, I not only customize the framing, but I customize the art itself. Sometimes I could do a full, unique, one-of-a-kind work from custom, but I can also take a print and customize it different ways. So this is one of my pieces called Meant to Be. And the couple provided me with the hair and the eye color they wanted the couple to have. And here's a different couple with the same piece that I just finished as a special order. So you can see that you can request hair, eye, skin tone, and different things with my work like that.
That's fantastic. Was that last one for your son?
It wasn't. It was actually somebody saw the one I did for my son, which is a very pale, like the whitest child in the universe with an African-American woman. But this is for somebody who saw that and ordered it. And so I'll even do degrees of darkness. So this woman is actually even darker than my daughter-in-law to be. So I love doing that and knowing that I'm making it for someone and it's going to resonate for that reason. That's
awesome. And I'm going to ask you the horrible question that everybody wants to know, that every artist hates. But how long does a painting take? I know, I'm so sorry.
No, it depends. Like some of these little ones where I do repeat colors over and over, I can do something like this in an hour. And then something like the big tree behind me, that's days, so it all depends. Also, what it depends on is the amount of work that I put into the metal plate. I actually let me see, give me a second. I want to find something I can show you that'll illustrate that. Let's see if I could do this without dropping things down. Okay. So,
don't break anything.
No, I just have a good example. So I have this tree of life, and I have this tree of life. This one has a ton of work in the etching. All those little details in the leaves are in the metal plate. And actually painting this is relatively quickly because I can wash the paint over the etching, and the shading and the depth all comes from what's in the metal plate. Whereas this piece, I'm actually have to be super careful and fill in each leaf one by one, make sure I stay within the lines. So there's both a huge time and price discrepancy between those two pieces based on the fact when I'm doing most of the work, whether it's in the painting stage or the etching stage.
That makes tons of sense. Thank you for clarifying that.
My pleasure. And I think you get the treat now of meeting Erin, who I'm so excited to see her work. I'm like ready.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So I'm Erin Draper. I'm a clothing designer in Baltimore. And I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about my design style and my clothing. So my goal generally with the clothes is for them to be very unique and interesting and beautiful, but also really comfortable and easy to move in. So first of all, I use really soft fabrics. A lot of them are eco-friendly. A lot of them are from a fabric company in New York. So they're actually made there and they don't have to travel long to get to me. There's usually a combination of fabrics in each piece. So like this one is a good example that shows up well on camera. This has bamboo, rayon, hemp. I use a lot of silk and tencel too. And I also use a lot of athletic seaming, which goes with the comfort and movement of my clothes. Here's an example of an asymmetrical color blocked piece right here. Another feature of my clothes that you'll see a lot is this really flattering drape. The shirt that I'm wearing has it. You can see it here and here. I use this diagonal drape a lot that goes across the body. And my clothes also come in a lot of shapes and sizes. So there's a variety of styles. Most of them are in extra small through 2X, and I can make some custom changes too, like the length and a little bit on the sizing if you message me. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of my new pieces. Since we haven't had in-person shows, I'm finding that a lot of people like to buy accessories online because it's just an accessible, small item they can try and get to know me and my clothes. So these are my shawls that I've been selling for a while. These are some of my most popular pieces, but I also have some new shawls that are on the website, and I have some new gloves as well. I have these, a new fleecy glove. I'm also going to have a mitten coming out soon. These are my old gloves that some of you may have seen. They're still online too, if you met me at any of the shows. And I'll also have some new clothing coming out soon too. But I wanted to highlight those accessories just because I know it's something easy you can order if you're trying me out for the first time. So do we have any questions?
We did have some questions. The one that popped up into the chat was, are they machine washable?
Some of them are technically. I usually recommend hand wash, but I know a lot of people do put them in like a mesh bag and use cold water. I wouldn't dry them though.
That's important to know.
I do have a care section on my page that I'll put into the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you. And what else do we have? How do you come up with your designs? They're so varied and interesting and different than what we've seen before.
Thank you. So it's a combination mostly of sketching and pattern making. So in my pattern making, I like to use interesting shapes and do things that I haven't really seen before, and I'll drape a lot on the form, but I also, this is my sketchbook, so give you an example. I can have this jacket here that came from this little sketch, and it was just me playing around with ideas. The collar of the jacket flips underneath and sews into the side seam. So my ideas usually come from trying to do something innovative with the pattern that I haven't seen before.
I think you certainly hit the mark with that. And I love the two tones on or the multi-tones. It's not even just two on so many of your pieces. Where did you learn how to do all this?
So I live in Maryland now. I didn't grow up here, but I have an aunt here, and I used to stay with her over the summers, and I would work for a local designer as a summer job. And then I went also to Parsons for school. And after school, I came to work for her for a couple years, and I learned not just design, but all the other important things about running a business and production and all that. I worked in production and shipping and all different parts of her business because she did everything here at her little mini factory. So that was a really good education for me. And then I just slowly started selling my own clothes.
That's fantastic. Also, I love that you just like breezed over that you went to Parsons. That's a huge accomplishment. And who do we have following you? Do we know? Yes, we do know.
And I have here. Oh,
looks like Karen is next.
Yes, Karen is next.
Hi everyone, I am Karen Coston with Karen Coston Jewelry. I'm in Baltimore. If you don't already know, I'm sure there's some familiar faces out there. I have been designing for 17 years full time, and if we know each other from shows, then you know about my Star Trail collection, which is really my signature work. I roll print all of my textures into metal, so I work a sheet at a time like this. So you can see the texture in the metal, and you can see all the spaces here that I already cut things out, patterns and things. So everything that I work with starts like this, and they're always textured on both sides. And the textures were all inspired by time-lapse photography of the constellations. So the beauty in the work is they're never the same. It's an infinite process. And I also do a lot of fine knot work. So I have a mix of kind of delicate and industrial. So if you look here, you can see my work is always knotted on silk cord. It's super tough and beautiful, and you can wear it to the beach, you can wear it to work, you can wear it around your house like I've been doing. One of the favorite pieces from my collections are always my lariats. So I have one on, and I have one on my dress form. And the cool thing about lariats is they are adjustable. So they're open-ended, and I had it long. But what I can also do is double it up like this. And then like a scarf, I'm gonna pull the tails through the loops. I've got a loop in the tail, and you can wear it shorter. So all in all, there are about like 5 or 6 different ways you can wear your lariats. Again, the pieces are always printed on both sides. They're textured, you can see here. And these textures, they really run throughout my collection. So it's on my cuff. I do other pieces that aren't knotted on silk, and they're on really, really thin oxidized chain. So they're still really delicate. Again, this is one of my Star Trail pieces. This one's fabricated, so it's sterling silver. And then if you flip it over, it houses cast cement with little silver studs on the inside. So it's intended to be worn both ways. And these are all fabricated. They're not cast, so they're always going to be different. Even if I make 5 of the same ones, they're going to be different, which is cool. And yeah, they just come in different shapes. Here's some more examples. These are some fun pieces that I started doing kind of at the beginning of the pandemic. They're playful, they're adjustable, and they are on silk. So the patterns transcend all of my designs. This is a cuff. Same thing, you know, you can kind of mix and match. I like to stack a lot of textures, so every day it can be a little different. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today about my work. Are there any questions?
Yeah, what is your favorite part of the design process?
Oh, I think my favorite part would be the fact that no matter how many times I sit down and work, the work's always different and new ideas always come. So the fact that I can be working in a series and the ideas keep evolving and changing and staying fresh, that's really important to me in the process, and that's my favorite part. It's always a surprise.
That's so interesting. Did you go to school for jewelry design, or are you self-taught, or how did you come about?
With jewelry, I'm self-taught-ish. So I have a BFA from Moore College of Art and Design in Philadelphia in textile design. So I studied fabrics and surface design and pattern. And then I have an MFA from Howard University in mixed media. And I've kind of always done jewelry along the way. We had an open thesis in undergrad, and I was able to kind of jump into whatever I wanted to. So I did a jewelry line, and it paid my rent for the entire summer from my senior show. So that, yeah, kind of opened me up to what was possible. So I worked in New York for my first year out of school. I designed and did a lot of spec work, and a lot of stuff went overseas and came back, and I hated it. And it made my soul very sad. So I left and kind of haphazardly wound up living in Baltimore in 2001. And here I am. I love the city. It supported everything I've ever wanted to do artistically. And I don't know, no matter what, I think I'll always have a home here. So yeah, that's pretty much how it all started.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. And up next is Michael.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Mitchell. I'm from Iona Handcrafted Books. I live in Austin, Texas. Hello to everybody I see out there. A lot of you who have met me before or know me online, you know my story, but I will tell the rest of you that I got a degree in design, interior architecture back in '92, and went to Europe to sketch all the old buildings, and thought that I was going to get my master's when I came back in architecture. And about 5 months into my trip, I had a little kid steal my backpack with my journal in it in Rome. So I ended up shopping for a new journal when I got to Venice and met a bookbinder who was making books that I fell madly in love with, and I ended up learning how to make books from him and never made it to grad school. I started making books for friends, and it just became a business kind of by accident. And that was 26 years ago that I started making books for a living. So what I'm doing here is a style of binding that originated in Italy with the monks. The monks decided to make books that were more durable because books were too fragile or rare to take out of the libraries. So they needed something that they could carry into the library, hand copy scriptures or whatever they needed to copy, and then they could carry it around with them on a daily basis. So here is an example of what they made. This is the way that I was taught to make them all those years ago. This is just the simple traditional leather strap closure, and the paper is all stitched right into the leather with, there's no adhesives at all. So they're super crazy durable. That's why the monks made them that way, because they were durable. The glues tend to break down over the years and make your pages fall out. So these are meant to be kicked around and abused. And Michael, I see you have quite a few of those books. And so we also make photo albums. So this is a photo album with black paper, and you can see, let's see, the light's a little bit bright there, but it's black paper. We give you little mounting corners to mount the photos in there, and then there's vellum in between the pages to protect the photos from rubbing against each other. So we do journals and photo albums. And about 10, 11 years ago, I started getting a little crazy and started putting architectural hardware onto my books because of my love for architecture. So here's an example of my signature line. This is a door hinge from the 1880s. So you just pull the pin out of the top and then it opens. So these are about 140, 150 years old, and they're attached with hand-hammered copper rivets. This one has rivets that patina a little bit, so you can see they're kind of green now. Some of them are a little bit more tarnished looking. And then I also do these that have a padlock closure. So this is actually an icebox hinge from the 1800s. And we cut a little slot into it because, of course, it wasn't meant to be used this way. So I cut a little slot into it so it fits over that piece. And then we match it up with an antique padlock. And these all come with a key, and you can lock them up, lock up all your secrets. So that is the main thing that I'm doing now. And those are all available on my website in the section called One of a Kind, because they are all one of a kind, because they are all, none of them are reproductions. They're the real deal. Everything that I get is an antique. So there's another type of icebox hinge. I mean, who knew? Icebox hinges, so gorgeous. And here's one. You can see an example of one that my friend has filled with gorgeous paintings. He's a watercolor artist. So they take all kinds of pens and inks, and they are meant to be heirlooms. Questions?
First of all, obsessed. Let's just put that out there. Do you do custom work?
I'm sorry?
Do you do custom work?
I do. I do a lot of custom work. I use surplus leather from other industries. So I'm kind of at the mercy of the surplus industry. So bag makers, boot makers, belt makers, I'm taking leftovers from their industries, trying to have a smaller footprint by doing it that way, which means that on my website, if you went to my website and you choose a journal, you just want a strapped journal, you'll only see 4 or 5 or 6 different color options. You can pick your size and pick your paper, but you might only have 4 or 5 options of color. But if you call me or email me, I can tell you that there are 100 different leathers in my studio at any given time, just not enough to warrant photographing it and putting it on the website. So I have pinks and purples and blues and avocado, all kinds of gorgeous colors, but then I'll just get one hide of them and I'll never see them again. So if you have a niece or a granddaughter or a mother that only does red or pink or lavender, call me because I probably have it.
I mean, that's the beauty of one of a kind and handmade, is that
Exactly.
it only exists once. So get it while you can. And when you do take custom orders, if somebody was trying to order for the holidays, what kind of time frame do you need to be able to do that? Lead time?
Well, we do make everything 100% by hand. So the leather is cut by hand. The paper is torn by hand. It is all stitched by hand. We even wax our own twine. So we do ask that people give us, especially at Christmas, during normal times, there's no normal times this year, but times it can take a week to 2 weeks. But during the holidays, we start getting orders the beginning of November. And if you want something really custom, like if you want a name or something like that put onto a book, we have to have that leather cut before. It's kind of complicated, but if you want names, we can do that. If you want your logo, we can do that. But it does take quite a bit of time to do that. So I would say get them in at beginning of November, and that makes everybody rest well.
Absolutely. And I do notice that we've got lots of different questions coming in for you, but we're also limited on time. So at the end, when we open everything up for chatting, we can come back to these questions. I just don't want everybody to think that we're ignoring them. So
next, Noelle, fabulous.
Oh, you're muted, Noelle.
There we go. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Noelle, and I just want to first say that I feel really thankful to be here with you guys. It's been such an interesting time for all of us. And even this socialization and meeting new artists and hearing all you guys talk about your work just really fills my heart with a lot of joy. So thank you for being here and hearing your stories. So my business is called Z Pots. We've been around for over 20 years. My husband and I make all of the work together. He is taking our youngest son to soccer practice, so he won't be popping in to say hello. So we work in Southern Vermont. All of our pieces are handmade. We do have a fantabulous crew of artisans that work with us here at Z Pots. So one of our new offerings right now, we have partnered with Physicians for Criminal Justice Reform. And together we are offering, it's called Trio 2020. So we're offering these cups with all of the proceeds going to Physicians for Criminal Justice Reform. So we have this one, which is, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And this is a Hopi saying, Native American. We have the Vote Cup, it's coming. And we have the Black Lives Matter Cup. So all of the proceeds will be going to Physicians for Criminal Justice Reform. We're going to be offering this for the next month. You can go on the website and purchase that, and it's called Trio 2020. So I just wanted to let you know that this was out there. I think you have some questions for me.
I do have some questions for you. What is the mission of Z Pots? It seems like you have more behind it than just making pottery. That there seems to be some oomph there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of words, there's a lot of messages, there's a lot of energy that we put into the pieces. Everybody here at Z Pots is aligned with our common mission of creating world peace, one pot at a time. That world peace begins at the home and heart. And we produce gentle reminders and inspirations that thread into our common ritual of eating and drinking. So, because we all eat and drink as humans. So this is a common ritual that we all share every single day. It marks our days, it marks our nights, it marks our communion with others. So that is where we chose to funnel all of this supportive energy for us. So you can see that a lot of our work will have my poetry written on it. We have a collection of 5 poems, and I'd love to just read you a poem.
Would love that.
We are family, all sharing the same light, the sun, sharing the same water, wind, breath. We are family sharing a home, all walking on the same ground. We are one family connected within the web of life, here to be, we are. So this was inspired by like a prayer wheel, the way that you would spin a prayer wheel. So we've written the poetry around so that when you do read it, it feels like a prayer wheel. So that's the inspiration there. We have a ton of really great products and designs. This has been one of our people's favorites, the 4 seasons, reminding us of, you know, the rotation of time. So here in Vermont, we're almost right at peak. You know, we're gonna be here really soon.
One of the questions that we're having show up is, can you drink out of those 3 that you showed at the beginning? Can they hold hot liquid, and can you drink out of them? And
yeah, so everything is microwave oven and dishwasher safe. We are an environmentally friendly company. Our kilns run on cow power, which is a Vermont state program that generates electricity from methane produced in Vermont farms. So we do everything we possibly can to work in harmony with our planet. So yes, you can drink out of them. So as it relates to something, let me grab a mug for you.
I love that you're on the floor, by the way. There's just something really.
This is my library. I call this my library. We try to keep one piece of everything we make. We have thousands of pieces that we make. So I try to keep one. There's like pots all around me. So we have our mugs. This says here and now. This is our little be the change. So, you know, obviously this is really easy to drink out of when it's hot.
Right.
One of these has like a nice little divot on the side here. I call it a comfy nudge. You can like get all comfy with your cup. So if the cup is too hot to hold, the drink is too hot to drink.
So interesting.
So, you know, if your cup is feeling a little hot, just give it some time until you can cuddle with it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And who do we have up next?
So next we have the fantabulous, amazing, most beautiful Nora Swan. Woo!
Hi, everyone. Hold on. Oh, I see. Am I unmuted or not? Because I got
You are unmuted.
Okay. Hi. I'm Nora Swan, and I'm half of Swan&Stone Millinery. Me and my partner, Samantha Stone, have been making hats up here in farther north in Vermont than Z-Pots is. And so we're almost to the end of peak, I would say, at least up on the mountain where I live. We make hats up here in Vermont, and the weather is kind of wild and the winters are long, and so we do make hats for their function. They keep you warm, they keep the rain off of you, they keep, you know, that kind of thing. But we also are more obsessed with making hats because they are so much, they're like a personality amplifier, and it's such a wonderful social art form, because the whole art of making a hat has to do with creating things that are going to jibe with the character of their wearer, and just sort of almost channeling people's personality, other than our own, to make things that are going to make you feel wonderful as you wear them. And so that's really something that we love about making hats. We really like the way that they boost your charisma, they boost how you feel about yourself, they make you more memorable. And in a way, it's sort of like the reason I got into making hats originally was when I was a teenager, I was pretty shy. And I discovered this one big black hat that kind of did part of the work for me, or somehow I felt like I came into focus and was able to be outgoing in a way that I hadn't been able to be before. And so ever since then, I've really loved the way that wearing the right hat just kind of brings you into focus. And especially I don't know, it's deeply satisfying when the right person and the right hat come together and they put the hat on their head and suddenly it's, clicks. Anyway, so one example of what I've been talking about is the way different hats and colors and shapes change. So I'm going to change hats, just color. This is the same shape. So look at me here. And then you can see it's the same shape, but color difference, and you see a different aspect of how the hat works. And then you can also play around with history, gender, and let's see, what else do we have? Width of hat. The width of the brim changes things. And then this was something I was wanting to talk to you about. I have started recently putting these pieces of driftwood onto the hats as sort of a sculptural element, because the shape of the hat, the color of the hat, all of that, and then trim, those are the sort of the elements that we play around with. And so the funny story that's behind these is my son and I went up to Bread and Puppet, which is a institution here in Vermont, where they do every summer, they do these giant puppet pageants. And we went up there and we stayed a little late. We had planned to go camping farther north. We ended up camping on this nearby lake called Lake Willoughby. And it turned out that it was a nudist beach that we ended up in the dark arriving and camping in, which was fine. There was a whole bunch of teenagers that were extremely excited all night long to be swimming in the nude together. But in the morning, we woke up. Henry stayed asleep. My son was still asleep in the tent. And I got up and it was sort of drizzling and raining, and I was walking around and I noticed all of these wonderful small pieces of driftwood along the shore. And it's sort of a thing that we often do in our hats, that we put different elements of our landscape onto the hats just as a way of elevating and celebrating the fact that we're actually in a place, and the little things around us are so beautiful and you might not even notice until you put them somewhere and highlight it. So that is where we got all of these pieces of driftwood that I've been putting on hats lately. And let's see, I know I meant to say something else and now I can't remember what it was, but do you have any questions?
I do have a couple questions. And it's amazing. Every one of those hats looks so good on you. Do you make them for yourself? No. I mean, I'm sure you do.
It's funny because I'm putting the hats on that I like and that look good on me. There are plenty of hats that don't. It's just a matter of figuring out what your face looks like, what your style is.
Right. And that was actually the question that I was going to ask, is that are there general rules about what hat styles look good on different faces?
Yes. Oh, by the way, it's so much fun to see all of you guys in our hats. That's really satisfying. And that's something I miss so desperately about doing shows, is seeing the continuing life and adventure of our hats. And so thank you so much for coming and putting on the hats and making my heart go pitter-pat. So the differences in shapes and style, you have to think of different elements. One element is the shape of your face. So I've got sort of a heavy jowly thing going on in my No, you
No, you don't, but whatever
No,
you need to tell yourself.
I'm not putting myself down. I'm just saying, objectively speaking, I have sort of a square
Got it.
face, right? And I sort of have wide spaced eyes. So between those two elements, the things that look good on me tend to be that sort of balance out the shape. You can even see it if I hold this here. Our eyes are so trained to track faces that hats are extremely powerful, because anything that changes, you know, the proportions of your face make a huge impact. So if you're going to change one thing about you, you can keep your whole wardrobe identical. And if you get a couple of new hats, people won't notice that, like, it revitalizes your entire wardrobe. So let me see. So here's a good example. So this hat shape on Sam, who has quite a long, narrow face, would sort of swamp her and it wouldn't balance it out. But on me, that squared off shape emphasizes the fact that I've got sort of a heart-shaped chin going on. But if I do this shape, which looks fantastic on Sam, on me, can you see that it's sort of emphasized like a pancakey kind of thing going on with me? You know, and it's funny because the hat is wonderful and people would still love me in the hat. It's not like anybody would notice necessarily that it's not the perfect hat, because they're looking at the hat and it's fun to see somebody in a hat no matter what.
Right.
But the art form is designing hats that look good on different types of people,
Right.
and helping people to find the match. And so
So if you had to choose one hat that was good as a gift, like
so one hat is hard.
I know, but
you know, hats are like, they're amazing gifts, because if you can pull it off, like the person will feel so seen and so loved and so understood if you can get the right hat for the right person. So you can think about the person that you're going to give the gift to. We have been known, like on a Zoom call or some kind of consultation, feel free, you can contact us. And if you have, even if you have a group of people that you want to give hats to, if you have a photograph of them and you have a sense of their personality, we can definitely help you find the right hat for the right person. And so you think about the person. Are they comfort oriented? Do they like texture and wearability? And if that's the case, for a woman, this is a really great hat. It's adjustable in size. Most of our hats are adjustable in size or size neutral in some way. This one is really nice. We make this felt. It's merino wool, and it pulls down and covers your ears, and it's just got a little pop of color.
So cute. Let's see who's gonna win your gift certificate, and see if we can get them to find something that will work perfectly for them.
Yeah, so in both cases, I guess I should say, both of those questions were sort of about picking. And if you, if anybody wants to, you're welcome to either send me photographs through email, and I can talk back and forth about what would be good, or we can even Zoom or consult in that way, and I can show you what I've got in the studio. I definitely design by personality type and look, and so I feel confident that at this point I've put the 10,000 hours in, and I can help you find it.
For sure. That's great. So now that we've heard from everybody, it is time to choose the winners for our gift certificates. And first of all, thank you to all of the artists who just bared their souls to us. I had such a great time personally. What a great mix of different types of categories and media and stories. And I've just had, I've been to a few of these now, and I've had a really good time today. So with that said, let's post some gift certificates. So the first gift certificate we're going to choose is for Karla Gudeon Art and Design. I'm going to go in the order of how they presented. And when you do, if you are a winner, we ask that you put your name and your email address in the chat. If you're not comfortable giving that out to everybody, you can send it just to the admin person that's on there. Their name is admin. And if we don't get an email address, we won't be able to send you your gift certificate. So make sure you do that. Super critical. We want you to get your prize. So, Karla Gudeon, art and design. The winner is, I'm just waiting for it to pop up. It's Sandra Goldstein.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Sandra. If you could put your information in chat, we'd appreciate it. Okay, so next is Erin Draper Clothing. And the winner of that is Belfry Changeling.
Woo!
Yay!
Congratulations. Okay, Karen Coston Jewelry. The winner for that is Robert Kleinman.
Yay!
Congratulations, Robert. All right, on to Iona Handcrafted Books. The winner there is Gwen Kleiman. Almost the same last name, but
Gwen
different.
Parker. Gwen Parker. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Gwen Parker. Gwen Parker.
Yay! And yay! I was gonna order one. Happy birthday to me!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
That's so exciting. All right, so the winner of Z-Pot is Candace Faith.
Yay!
Congratulations, Candace.
Awesome. Thanks.
And the final gift certificate is for Swan&Stone Millinery, and the winner of that is Barbara Zane.
Yay!
Yay, Barbara!
Thank you. That's great.
Congratulations to everybody who won. I haven't been able to watch the chat too much because I was looking for those names. So if you could make sure that you put your name and email address, not just your name, but name and email address in the chat, we will get those to you after the party. And because we want everyone to leave feeling like they've won something, you all will receive a coupon code for 10% off at all 6 of the makers' websites. The coupon will be good from today through October 15th. So head on over to those websites and do some retail therapy or find some gifts because the holidays are shockingly close and time flies really quickly. We will send a follow-up email to everybody after the party with that coupon code, which is ArtPartyOct8, which we'll put in the chat as well. And just put that in the chat. There we go. And so we'll send an email with that code and links to all the websites from all the artists from today. We do have another party scheduled for next week on Thursday, which is October 15th. And I just want to give you the list of who we're going to see there, which is Ecologic Clothing and Accessories and Megan Patrice Riley Jewelry. Both of those are co-creators of Art Party Central. And they will be joined by Sherwood Forest Design, who makes gorgeous painted wooden bowls, Suchi Pottery, William McCarthy Fine Art, Harlem Candle Company, and Kim Shaw Clothing. You can RSVP at artpartycentral.org, and we hope you invite your friends if you've had a good time, because the more the merrier. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest at Art Party Central. I think I speak for all of the artists that are here by saying you guys are fantastic. We miss seeing you all in person, but this is such a great way to stay connected. And with that said, we have a few minutes left and we'd love to say hi. So we invite you to unmute yourselves and let's chat. If you didn't have questions answered before, we can try and get those answered now. And
yeah, I was hoping to win a Karla Gudeon, but you know.
You already got her.
Say something.
You did win a Karla Gudeon. She's the actual human being.
I actually made Karla Gudeon.
Done.
Erin, can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
You had that wrap dress in back. I'd like to know a little more about that.
Oh.
On your mannequin?
On the Zoom, I'll call you right back after.
So this is something that you can wear more than one way. I have a true dress that looks kind of similar, but this one, it's more of like a cover up. So I have it knotted. But you can also wear it open like this. You can also tie the front part of it different ways. I have a little video. I'll put the link into the chat. But this is definitely one of my more popular pieces that's been around for a while. And just fun how you can put it different ways.
So it's short. It's not a long dress.
It comes to like probably like your calf area, mid calf.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I know Belfry had a question about for Swan and Stone about where does the wool come from?
Well, we make a lot of the felt ourselves. So that wool is domestically grown merino wool. So we, it's grown here in the United States, or herded, or whatever you do. And then we have it dyed for us in this wonderful antique dye house. I think it's in Philadelphia. Is that right, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
A gorgeous old, like, what is it, 100 years old dye house. And so they dye the wool for us. And then we have it shipped here. And then we've got a local fiber mill who does the carding for us, which is like, it's sort of like when you like brush your cat, but it's two of them together, but these are machines. So it makes these sort of colorful clouds that we then turn into felt in various ways. So that's it. Yeah.
Did anybody have any questions that they wanted to ask directly?
I actually have a question for Iona Handcrafted Books.
Go for it.
Okay, it's not working. I don't
You-
know why.
Oh,
Can you see?
There you are.
yep.
Okay, hi.
On your website, does it tell you which papers are best for watercolor work?
Oh, that's a great question. I didn't answer that. Yes, I have the paper that I call watercolor paper is the best one for watercolor. It's handmade custom for me. Friend's book. It's recycled cotton fabrics.
It's really beautiful.
Perfect. The bamboo also takes water. Thank you.
Somebody did ask if you ship overseas also.
I do.
That was me.
And I answered him, but for everybody else who wants to know, yes, I do ship overseas. It's a little crazy since COVID, but if you get it in early, it might take a little bit longer than it used to.
Can I just ask, you work with DHL?
You do with DHL, Robert? That's your suggestion?
It's just that I'm located in Israel, and one of the best companies to work from America. When we send to America and America sends to Israel, it's DHL. So I was just asking whether Iona Handcraft uses that courier service.
That's so interesting. It looks like she's actually having some technical difficulties. She
Okay, it's not a problem.
disappeared, but we'll make sure to get her that information. And it's also really good to know that that's the best way to get products to Israel.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Did anybody have any other questions? It looks like, again, Iona looks like she's stepped out for a moment, but. Oh, there you are. You're back, Michael. We just can't hear you yet.
Are there questions for the artists?
What's that?
Are there any questions for the artists that were here tonight?
There was one other question. I don't know if Michael, are you back? You're muted, but you're back. There were a couple other questions. One was, do you do miniatures? Oh, I don't know if she's back yet.
I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you do miniatures, and where do you find the icebox locks?
Itty bitty ones like this. This one is 3 inches by 4 inches.
Oh, it's so cute.
And where do I find the locks?
Yeah, all over, I'm assuming.
They're antiques from India. The American padlocks were way too industrial. They didn't go very well with these super elegant American icebox hinges. So, but India has had a whole bunch that were made between the 20s and the 40s, and those are the ones that I get. And they're gorgeous, and the keys actually work. It's crazy.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks everybody for coming. This has been super fun. It's so nice to see your faces.
Yeah. It's nice to see more than just me in our Swan and Stone hats. I see a couple of people.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I get great comments about my Swan and Stone hat, but I don't wear the felt ones because it's too hot in Hawaii. But the canvas ones, like, are great for working in the yard and walking around the neighborhood. And this one's been through the wash a couple of times.
It looks fantastic. It
You'd
really
never know. It looks perfect.
gorgeous. Say something. Ow! One of the guests. I miss the crafts fair through this COVID more than I miss anything. So I want to thank all of you artists. Just keep on keeping on, and we'll get back there. We have to. But thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I had one thing I wanted to say too, just to remind everyone that next Thursday, as Laura said, next Thursday is a whole different set of artists. And I posted the link to Art Party Central in the chat. So I don't know if everyone's looking at the chat, but it's artpartycentral.org. So if you all go, make sure you look at our website so that you can RSVP to any of our events and just get on the email list so that you know what's coming up next. And then you'll be sure to not miss them. Does everybody see that in the chat?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, this
Yes.
was
Robert, thank you for coming all the way from Israel. It is very late there. Go get some sleep.
Good night.
It's almost midnight. You said.
Michael,
Thank you.
can the photo albums be painted or drawn on?
They can be. Yes, you can paint. You can paint with like acrylic or something like that for sure. Yeah, it's all cotton. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
this whole thing was born because we miss connecting with our customers at shows. And what I love about this is that we're going to keep going with different artists in every group. It's not going to be the same thing. So it provides, this dose of we miss our craft shows, way to see each other.
It's nice.
And you get to learn about people you wouldn't have necessarily stopped at their booth, but now you get to really meet them and understand what they do.
And it's a good way to expose artists to new customers like myself, and for someone like myself to get inspiration. I really appreciate this. I rarely go to art shows because of travel restrictions, but this is good.
Good. Well, tell your friends.
Yeah, that's really well.
Let's grow this together, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.